A union video that includes interviews with 2 country paramedics reveals that this is a problem all over the state.
I came very close to crashing into the trees. It was, I just remember just suddenly waking up and heading towards some trees on the side of the road. I managed to brake and stop, probably only metres from impact. I remember sort of being a bit shaken up about it, but didn't worry about it too much because, again, that's something that I experienced many times. It's probably about a week after that I was just sitting at home and I just had this, again, I don't know how to describe it. It was just like a wave of melancholy just came over me. And I just felt I just didn't want to do this anymore. I just didn't want to be a paramedic. I just didn't even want to go to work. And it was really strange because I had no control over these feelings. They just sort of washed over me. I sort of explain it as a bit of a mental meltdown, which is not typical for myself because I'm a very strong person normally. Twice I've nearly lost my life because of fatigue, and for some reason or other it finally registered when there's been many instances of the same occurring in the past, and we've just dismissed it. My partners and myself just dismissed it as being part of the job, but for some reason or other at this time it just hit home.
I started in 1999 and worked in Melbourne for 5 years. At that point I had to leave work for 12 months due to the effects of fatigue. It was a progression of becoming more and more tired and getting less and less sleep between shifts, after night shifts, then between normal shifts, and that progressed to not getting very good sleep even on my days off. I got more worried about doing something wrong at work. I got worried about making a mistake and worried about the responsibilities I already had as a paramedic to the patients and also to my student. I've had times where I've had to pull the ambulance over, being so fatigued and nauseated that both my partner and I had actually vomited from fatigue just because we've been working all night. I've also had times where I'll be driving my patient and partner to a hospital and forget completely where I was going and make wrong turns, and these are places that I would normally know very well. It got to a point where I was at work. I drove through a red light at one stage with my student in the car and I didn't realise it, and that was at night after doing a very long shift. Had some truck been coming through the green light, well, I could have killed us both. So it was a really sobering moment.
What do we want?
Fair wages!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Fair wages!
When do we want it?
Now!
The paramedics are also seeking to improve their pay, which they feel greatly undervalues the work that they do.
We're also going for professional rates of pay. Again, Victoria is lagging behind every other paramedic service in Australia. We want to come in line with other health professionals, such as nurses, such as technicians. Given that MICA paramedics, for example, do very similar actions as some doctors, where they will sedate a patient, they will put tubes down people's throats to intubate, to then help them breathe. They're doing all of these amazing skills in a very uncontrolled environment, on the side of the road, kneeling on glass, kneeling in oil. Paramedics are professionals in an extraordinary world, and we're not at all compensated for this. We have a minimum 3-year degree at university, and then MICA paramedics have another 12 months on top of that, and then another 12 months to consolidate those skills. The government, in its last meeting with Ambulance Victoria and the union, said there was no merit to our claim for professional wages. So you could probably understand paramedics are quite annoyed at this, that, you know, we're given lots of responsibility. We make decisions about life and death in horrendous situations. We're highly skilled, but there's no merit to our claim for professional wages. So we've been left with no choice but to engage in industrial action.
As the industrial campaign begins, if Reader's Digest is anything to go by, sympathy will rest with the paramedics. For all 5 years of their annual trust survey, ambulance officers have beaten out other health professionals to the #1 spot. while politicians languish at or near the very bottom. This result was vindicated by a recently leaked email between management staff, which indicate that the government was notified in April of legal and/or health and safety advice to concede the 10-hour rest breaks. Advice the Department and Ambulance Victoria have continued to ignore.
I think the employer's been tightly controlled by the government. I don't believe that they've been allowed to negotiate fairly. They have not been able to have any meaningful discussions with the union without the government involvement, direct involvement from officials of DHS, and I think that's been very unfortunate. Historically, our negotiations have worked very well with previous ambulance employers, but this round has been completely different.
That's another issue that paramedics are finding really hard to swallow, is the fact that obviously this government has no regard for us. It thinks that we're expendable, it doesn't value the work that we do, and it's an absolute disgrace, really. And the people of Victoria should be really, really upset by the fact that their health is at risk too. If ours is at risk, theirs is too.
Ambulance, where is your emergency? She's crashed into a lamppost.
This advertisement is just one of the ways the union is seeking to engage the public in their campaign.
It's of the utmost importance that the general public get involved in supporting paramedics and making sure that they are in a proper and fit state, and that there are proper services out there to respond to them, and they can do that via we have a website, responsetime.org.au. There is a petition there that will go directly to the Health Minister, Daniel Andrews, and we would encourage people to sign that petition. But if we can't get substantial movement from the employer and the government, then paramedics will be forced into actions that they don't necessarily wish to take. But if they have to, then I dare say that they'll make that decision.
I really do love this job, and you'll find every paramedic that you talk to, even though we're able to see the holes in our working conditions, we still do it. We still front up for work every night and every morning going, this will be a great day.
I love the job, and I think everybody sitting at this table would say the same thing. We're in this job not for the money, we're in this job because we want to help the community, and that's what we all do. But we want to do it safely, and we want to do it with some respect from the government and from Ambulance Victoria. We're just not getting that at this stage.
And I'm very frustrated. No one in our industry likes to take industrial action, and I know people say that, but it's really true. I've been to so many union meetings in the past where industrial action's been suggested, and people go, no, we can't do that. The community depends on us. We have a responsibility, we can't do it. The fact that I think it was 94% or something of paramedics who voted in favour of this shows just how frustrated we really are.
The government and the ambulance service have a responsibility to not only the public but to their staff in particular to take measures before something happens.